most recently, the behavior has evolved to a more current state, which is sometimes referred to as servant leadership, okay? These are traits that has the leader actually in servitude to his subordinates. Now, I know that sounds kind of backwards, but it's become necessary because the subordinates have now been very well educated. They are very well experienced. The average worker has a lot of access to information. And also the average worker has a lot of choices, okay? They don't have to work for a guy they don't like. They don't have to work for a company they don't like. There are other jobs and there are other companies. And so if you don't treat people well, you lose the best people. And so the best leaders became those people who provided tremendous support to helping their subordinates accomplish all of their dreams. And the reason this is so important, it has to do with an environmental factor. Basically, what has happened in the 21st century is that the world is changing so fast, and the world has become so small that there's something called situational leadership. In other words, we can't know what we're going to do as far into the future as we used to. It used to be a manager would write up a 5-year plan, and we would stick to that plan, and we would be successful. That's what American companies did during the heyday of American industry, where we were making all the cars, and we were making all the electronics, and we were making all the machines. America had a plan, and we stuck to it, and it was kind of like, you know, this is what it is, take it or leave it. There was a famous expression that said, what's good for General Motors is good for America. And for a long time, that worked. But what happened was, at one point, General Motors and American cars were big, heavy, fuel-inefficient cars that people couldn't afford to put the gas in. And so the Japanese started coming out with high-mileage cars, and Americans said, hey, gas has tripled in price. I can't afford to fill up my tank of a $5,000-pound land yacht that gets 9 miles to the gallon. I'm going to buy this Honda because it gets 20 miles to the gallon. And so basically, America was kind of asleep at the switch in recognizing what consumers wanted, okay? And that has pretty much paralleled in the political arena, and we can talk about that later. But the point is, in industry, the servant leaders were the ones that were helping their companies take advantage of the circumstances that were fast changing. And so being able to be flexible as a leader was critical. For example, there were some people that you needed to tell what to do. Okay, I'm a new employee, I've never been in this industry before, tell me exactly what to do. So a leader had to be almost a teacher. A leader had to spell out what this person needed to do. You might have heard that expression, what do I have to do, draw you a map? Yes, you do, because this is my first day on the job, and I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, can you be a teller? A lot of times people who are really smart are not the best teachers, you know. Michael Jordan knows how to play basketball, but he didn't know how to coach basketball. So sometimes being too smart or too talented or too capable for your own good does not make you a good teller. But as a leader, you have to be able to tell people that need it. Then there are other people that you have to sell. You have to explain to them why they need to do it. They might be smart enough to understand, but they might not understand why we're doing this. And so you might have to be a salesperson. You might have to convince them that they're capable of doing this, and this is why they should want to do it, okay? So that's telling and now selling. So that requires, two personalities within leadership, really, because there are plenty of people who are teachers who are not good salespeople. There are plenty of people who are good salespeople who are not teachers, right? Those who can't do teach, right? We've all heard that expression. Then there are other people that you need to facilitate. I need to get in there with you and work together on this. So we're having a focus group. We've got 4 or 5 people. I'm the leader. I'm in there. I've got to kind of stir the pot and make people come up with the ideas and do the problem solving. But I'm rolling up my sleeves and I'm in there with you. Again, we all know some people who don't like to get their hands dirty. They like to tell people what to do, but they don't like to get in there with them. And so here's the third dimension. Can I teach? Can I sell? Can I facilitate? Okay. And then the final thing is delegation. Okay. You might have some people who are very experienced, very capable, very knowledgeable, and you just have to let them go do their own thing. You delegate a task to them. You empower them to act in your place. Well, there are a lot of people who have trouble with that. You might know them as micromanagers. You might know them as control freaks. They have to do everything themselves, right? They're the people who say, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. Well, believe it or not, that's kind of an inferior approach to management. If you cannot delegate, you don't have one of the necessary skills to accomplish your tasks, because a lot of times you can't do something by yourself. You don't have the time, or even, let's say, the ability to do something as well. But if you don't have the confidence and the security to let someone else do it for you, you have a blind spot. You have a weakness in your management style. So you can see how hard it is that one person would be able to tell, sell, facilitate, and delegate. But yet, those are the behaviors that became very much necessary for the best managers at the end of the 20th century in America. And so little by little, we were making more and more demands on our managers to, in fact, act as leaders. And of course, the same thing is true in politics. What's happened is parallels exist where originally we had the great man theory. You had a guy like Abraham Lincoln, or you had a guy like George Washington. Those were people that founded this country, right? Our founding fathers, they're the great men. Well, then you had maybe guys like Abraham Lincoln. Again, he might fall under both categories, but he was tall and imposing and struck quite a figure. You had people like Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Riders. Then you had people like Franklin Roosevelt, maybe, who was a behaviorist, who basically said, hey, we've got this depression, we've got this world war. I'm going to lead my people out of that by, we only have fear. The only thing we have is fear itself. And so he acted certain behaviors. And then maybe people like Lyndon Johnson, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, maybe some of those characters started to reflect some of the servant leadership style where, I'm going to set an example. I'm going to be a role model for the qualities that I want you to embody. Patriotism. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. These are the kinds of things that have paralleled leadership in politics as well as business, okay? So, well, thanks very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what you heard, please give us a like. If you'd like to see more of these sessions, please subscribe. And if you would like to see the full video, just click on this link right here.